this. The audio's being weird.
The audio's being weird.
Woo! Nailed it. Hello, Cinema Peeps.
Hey, Cinema Peeps.
Welcome to Spooky Birthday 4.
Week 4, but same thing.
Sure. They're all... Time is a made-up thing, people. It's not real. It's not real.
Time is an illusion.
Truly is. I was just watching a bit of the last week's podcast. I already forgot what we already covered. I was like, what happened last week? What's going on? We had another jam-packed week again.
Yes, we did.
We both watched Scream 4.
Woohoo!
And then I watched Scream 5. I will explain later. And I watched my babysitter The Babysitter Killer Queen. There we go. Nailed the title. And just for funsies, I watched Hallmark's A Haunting Wedding because that's probably the closest Hallmark has ever gotten to a scary movie. I don't know. The trailer tickled me pink, so I was like, I gotta watch this. So you watched Scream 4. What else did you watch this week?
So yes, I watched Scream 4. I was so close to watching Scream 5. I almost did, and I should have. But, so I watched Scream 4, and then I watched Ghost Ship.
Okay. I think I watched the ending of that, actually.
Have you? Okay.
I think I've seen the ending of that.
So yeah, I watched that one, and then I watched this one's not a Halloween movie or a scary movie, but I watched Harold and the Purple Crayon because it stars Zachary Levi and it was available to rent. So I was like, I'm gonna watch it.
I thought it was free. Or is it just renting right now?
I think it's just for rent, yeah.
Okay.
It could be free right now, but at the time that I watched it, it was for rent. So
okay, interesting. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that. My brain just too tiny. But sorry, Harold, you're not a scary movie. You don't count this week.
I mean, it had some spooky elements to it, but it's not a full-on spooky
a man
book.
has a crayon and he can do whatever he wants with it. He could create a super virus if he so desired. He could create a scary monster if he so desired. He could topple our society with that purple crayon.
There you go. You made it dark.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we should start with Scream 4 since we both watched it.
Let's do
it. Okay. So, Scream 4 again. These movies they're just a good time. You know, even if I'm not even if it's not very good, I always have a good time watching.
Right?
These. They're just a fun time.
I must say, I never used to be quite as big a fan of the Scream franchise before, because to me it wasn't. I mean, it now technically it's like an iconic classic. You know, it's in the realm of the classic horror movies, but at the time I was like, it's not classic to me. But now that I'm actually like watching all of them like back to back, it's been fun to watch. I actually do enjoy them myself too.
Right? Like the beginning of Scream 4 is just so funny. You got Lucy Hale. I thought the other girl was from she's from 90210, the remake, but I thought she was on, like, Laguna Beach or some shit.
She's been in a few things from, like, the early 2000s.
Ray, Teeny Bop, like, perfect.
Yeah.
You know, they get murdered. And then it's fucking Kristen Bell and Kristen... I was gonna say Stewart, but... No, Anna Paquin. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She has blonde hair. That's what was really confusing me. Like, when... Like, watching... They were watching Stab 5. Yeah, they were watching Stab 5. And then and this girl's talking about, she's like, oh, this meta shit. And then Kristen Bell fucking stabs her on the couch. I was like, what the fuck? She goes, shut up, I want to watch the movie that's like, Stab 6. I was like, what is happening? And then it cuts to, like, the second it cut to the last group of girls, I was like, oh my god, that's the girl from the Hallmark Christmas channel.
Yeah.
And famous Christmas class reunion and My Family Christmas Tree or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Amy Teagarden? Amy Teagarden, yeah.
I had such a hoot. I was like, oh my god, it's happening. Hallmark scary movie crossover.
They're all converging.
I was like, this is what this was meant to be. I was just so crazy. And then the girl next to her, Britt Robertson, which I had to check. She's not related I don't think, to, because also Julia, no, Emma Roberts, there we go, is
Yeah.
also in this movie. They're not related. I thought they would be.
No. Yeah, no.
But I had sent you that thing with the How to Save Christmas on. I already forgot what the title of it is, but it's Chad Michael Murray and the girl on the couch, Britt Robertson,
Yeah.
in that stripper saving Christmas or
Oh
whatever.
my
So
lord,
again,
yeah.
it was like, wow, it's happening.
Scream is just you said it last podcast, but Scream is they're doing it. They're creating world peace. They're bringing the world
peace.
together.
World peace. So then the movie actually starts with their scene. It was so good. It was so good. And
Yeah.
then and then the credit, and then we got the credits, and I was like, all right, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
We also had Hayden Panettiere in this, so I was like, God damn, I'm stoked. And then we had Emma Roberts.
A full-fledged cast, star-studded cast.
Right? And then obviously we have our favorites. We have Sydney, we have Gail, Riley, not Weathers, Riley.
Yes, Riley.
And Dewey.
Dewey.
Oh, and yeah, Allison Brie as like her publicist.
Yeah.
Again, I know we've said this before. It's so fun like watching films and being like, oh my god, you. So I think this would have been just on the cusp of her doing Community.
Yes.
Like just on the cusp.
Just on the cusp, yeah.
Like, wow.
Right? And then we have Macaulay Culkin's brother or cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I remember even looking.
I can't remember
like,
which one's which.
Right? I remember looking at that kid and I was like, you so much look like you so much look like them. And then of course the end credits, I was like, that would explain it.
Yeah.
I even thought I was gonna look that up, like, yeah, to confirm if he was like brother or cousin.
Yeah.
But I figured I was gonna call them the Cullens, like from Twilight.
The Cullens.
You know, like they have it's not a very common last name versus like Roberts, a little more common. But
right.
Yeah, and so we have like this, I don't know what to call it. They did a much better job explaining in the movie of like a reboot sequel thing, as they always do, and they always make fun of and talk about the rules of horror again, how they've changed.
They basically it was like, yeah, like you said, it was like a reboot of the original with an all new updated modern cast kind of thing. So you still had the original crew from the original movie that this the franchise is still following their storyline, but then now we've got Sydney's cousin in the mix, who Emma Roberts plays. We now have her group of friends, and she's supposed to kind of be the new, younger version of Sydney, and her friends are kind of like the mirror image of Sydney and her friends back in the day, because you had that scene with Emma Roberts and her boyfriend in the bedroom, and Sydney comes in and was like, nothing, you just remind me of me at that age. And then you have
sketchy boy.
We have our resident film nerd, who is like the mirror. I think that was Macaulay Culkin. No, not Macaulay Culkin,
yes,
but Macaulay Culkin's cousin, whoever that is.
Yeah.
The Culkin kid. He was the opposite, or the mirror reflection of Randy.
Yeah. I felt though that they kind of had two though, like him and his buddy who ran the film club. They kind of both were at the same time.
But I guess technically Matthew Lillard was kind of also like that person too at the time of the original, because he, like, the two of them were always explaining the rules of horror.
True.
I think Randy was more like passionate about it, but like the two of them kind of did it, I think, together.
True. Yeah. Right. So Sydney has decided to write a book about her experience because she no longer wants to play the victim. As we saw in Scream 3, she was trying to hide, but then she was like, fuck it, no more. I'm coming out guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
And so she decided after that, I guess, that she no longer wanted to be the victim, so she wrote a book about her experience. So she was doing a book tour, and the last stop was her hometown, which she hadn't been to in probably 10 plus years, because I'm assuming she hadn't been since Scream 1, technically. Yeah. And,
it happened to fall on the anniversary of the killings, I believe.
As they always do.
Conveniently.
And literally, we start guns a-blazing. She tries to go to her book signing, and Dewey comes with, like, the entire squad and is like, brah, there's a phone here. And they find a girl's phone. Well, the two girls we just mentioned earlier who have been murdered, one of their phones were found in her rental car. And so the publicist is, like, having Alison Brie's having the greatest day of her life. She's like, fuck yeah, this town's a shithole, but like, oh my god,
The
banger for her buck.
publicity.
Right? The publicity.
Yeah.
Imagine. And of course, I think Gail has been suffering because she's, she's moved to a small town. She's trying to, like, not have her legacy be this whole, like, I don't know if it was, I don't think it's more, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I think it's explained a little more in Stab 5, but in Stab 4, she's trying to shed that image of, like, she wrote that book about the, Sydney's mom dying, and now, her book eventually spawns these Stab movies, which are now in the Scream universe, meta on meta, but she's trying to then, I guess, not have that, image anymore, but she's having a very hard time, because, reporting's just in her blood, but
yep.
She's trying her best, but she's
suffering
from
writer's block.
Yeah, so of course when the murders start up, she's like, yeah, yabba yabba do, I'm fucking, let's go. And Dewey's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
So she, once again, is trying to solve, the murder, and, they kind of suspect Sydney, but they're also like, hey, can you just stay in town? So it kind of forces her to stay in town, which, what a surprise, of course, is the killer's intention, but,
Yeah, conveniently, she has a cousin that's still, as we mentioned earlier, a cousin, Emma Roberts, who still lives in town, so she can stay with her at her place, and so she ends up, staying at their place, and I think they're all on watch, aren't they?
Yes, they're all on watch, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously, Emma Roberts' mom is her Sydney's mom's sister, obviously, so that's her aunt. So I think it's the first introduction of an aunt character I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was my thought? Who did you have any, before we get to the reveal, did you have any idea who it was, or did you have any vibes going into it, who you thought it could be?
I mean, that's always the thing with the movies, right? Is like they kind of paint certain characters a certain way to make you think, or to make you not trust them and stuff like that. So obviously
they love throwing those red herrings. They love it.
Oh yeah. Obviously the boyfriend was like very obviously suspicious, but I'm like, it can't be him, because that's like just a blatant repeat of the first one. So I don't think it's him. Hayden Panettiere kind of sometimes gave me a little bit of like,
oh, interesting.
But I think those were the two that I can recall right now that were like high on my radar. Yeah.
Mine was the aunt. I was like,
oh really?
I was like, wouldn't that be great? But obviously she gets murdered, so I was like, shit.
Yeah.
And to be fair, up to a certain point, I was like, because you dwindle down in the character line, so it should in theory be easier, but I was still like, I don't know. But then I think the scene where the Randy character, I was gonna call him the Cullen again, good Christ. I should just look up his character name so I don't get fucking confused. But anyways, that guy, when the Scream character kind of spared his life, I was like, And then Hayden Panettiere just played the game where he's sitting in the chair, again mirroring the first film again.
Yeah.
I was 100% sus. I was like, they never leave a character alive for a reason.
Yeah.
Again, thinking back to Scream 2, where he, again, the film student was just trying to like torture Sydney, be like, oh yeah, it's your boyfriend again, but it turns out it wasn't. Like, there's always a reason to, like you said, to like throw suspicion on another character. Like, there's a reason why they're alive.
Yeah.
So the second they were playing that game, I was like, I think it's him. And then of course he stabs her, and I was like, you motherfucker. So mad.
Right.
And then of course it is revealed that there is obviously a second killer. I think as well, like the boyfriend was very sus, but then the text message debacle was happening, and I was like, I was like, okay. I was like, all right. And of course, who's it turn out to be? But her cousin.
Yep.
Emma, and I forgot. I should have suspected her because I was during like her edgy phase, so I was like, I should have guessed that. I should have guessed that.
Well, and I was thinking too, based off of like what you mentioned in the last podcast, was that you were trying to like remember that where the ties were to her and to her mom and stuff, right? So it makes sense that it's like still in the family. But yeah, and I like that they still like kind of brought it back to the same sort of outcome as the original, but in still a different way. Because I guess that's the cool thing about this one is yeah, like it's the revamp. So in your mind, you're thinking, okay, so what do I remember from the first one to know what to expect? But then they still throw a few like curveballs at you, and
Right.
then they throw an even bigger curveball at you again to kind of like have it play out the same way the original one does. You're like, oh, okay.
Right. They're trying to be like, oh look, because like you said, they were supposed to. The killers were supposed to mirror, yeah, Randy and Sid, but
Yeah.
it was supposed to be like, oh, you would never suspect them
Yeah.
because, Sid and Randy. Like,
Right.
they were
And
good
then
characters.
yeah, and then watching Emma Roberts throw herself around the living room.
That was
and
wild.
That was
What a good
wild, yeah.
What a good time. What a good time.
Yeah.
I was even thinking while that was happening, I was like, God, wouldn't that be like a good premise for like a two-parter like horror film that like the killer does get away with it, and then you have to live like the next film like thinking like, oh wow, like what a like she was the hero, wow, what a strong soul, but she's actually like the evil person. I was like,
Yeah.
that'd be really good.
Although I found myself the whole time, like when she was like throwing herself into that glass coffee table, then smashing her head into the frame. I'm like, why wouldn't you just like take a baseball bat and do that instead? But then my CSI part of my brain's going, oh, well, but the fibers are gonna get on the glass, and then the blood, and so then that it'll confirm it, make it more realistic and believable. Yeah.
I also liked how she laid next to Sydney and she wanted to make sure her hand placement was just as good.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was
cool.
crazy.
I will say, like, it was a good reveal. I think I was just a little disappointed just because the third one, we kind of already had like a family tie. Like I felt like in some ways their motivations were maybe a little too similar because obviously in the third one, the whole idea was that he was mad at Sydney because she took away the family that he never had.
Yeah.
Even though that's not her fault or whatever. So, and then of course, Emma Roberts was like, you are like famous. I want to be famous. Like you took that.
All the family ever talked about was you.
Yeah.
I want to be the one that has the attention and stuff. And
yeah. So, like, I know they're not quite the same, but I was also just like, I felt like they were very similar at least, or adjacent to the same.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy, like, yeah, so she throws herself around the room, and then we're at the like, it still continues at, like, the hospital. We still have the climax at the hospital, which was great.
Yep.
Although, I just love how dumb Dewey is. So dumb. Yeah, she said she wants to write a book with you because you have the same injuries. And Gail's like, how would she know that? Shit! Like,
yeah.
Damn it, Dewey. Damn it, Dewey. Damn it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and shout out honorable mention to Officer Judy. Like,
oh
what
yeah,
a star. Love
Actually,
her.
she was also a little sus at one part too. But again, I feel like they did that on purpose.
That shadow part, I was like, oh. And
right?
again, yeah, right. And the fact that she was like, "Do you not remember me, Sydney?" I was like, "Oh, it could be," but yeah, I was like, this is like the most sus thing on planet Earth,
right?
So, nah,
too obvious.
Nah.
Yeah.
And so it was nice because yeah, she does come back in Scream 5, so I was like, awesome.
Hell yeah.
We're expanding the universe.
Yay.
But yeah, that ending of like, you have like all the news reporters reporting like different things about her. Emma Roberts' character anyway being like, wow, she's the hero.
Yeah.
And all this. And, she did all that work to die for fame,
Yeah.
But again, Scream, my God. Like, I don't even think we were thinking that like that way back in like 2010, 2011. Like, her whole shtick was like, you can be famous for anything now. And that's what I want to be. And I'm just like, God damn. Like, I don't, like, maybe I'm crazy, but I just feel like we weren't computing that concept that early in 2010 with social media.
Yeah, or maybe we just didn't, we didn't know, like, what we were in store for, I guess, yeah.
Right, because I think they make a comment how, I think that was just early Twitter and stuff like that, and so, I think YouTube was created 2008-ish, I think, or maybe a little earlier than that, so we were just getting rampant of like this idea that you could start sharing stuff around the world and becoming a meme and being famous and like again like fucking Wes Craven, how did you fucking know any of this shit? Like,
right?
How?
Everyone gets spooked by The Simpsons, like, but Scream?
Man, Wes Craven, so fucking good. RP Wes Craven, my God. But yeah, I think overall I enjoyed the film. I did find it a little annoying about the fact that like Emma Roberts and the other guy was Scream, like the Scream killer. But like I was gonna Google their heights. I think they're like 5 foot nothing. And Scream is like killer is clearly like 6 foot something. Cause he like kind of towers or is about the same height as like Courtney Cox and Neve Campbell.
Yeah.
And they to me seem like they're about 5'5", 5'6".
Well, let's find out right now.
Like I don't want to get all like film theory on this bitch, but I'm just like the heights don't make sense.
If anything, it's probably something you have to suspend disbelief for, just like for the
know,
intimidation factor,
I
right?
know. But I think it'd just be really funny if a short Scream was trying to attack people.
Just a little tiny ghost face.
I just like, what the fuck?
Okay,
What the fuck?
Let's see. Who do we want to know? We want to know Emma Roberts' height?
Yeah, what's her height? Maybe she's 5'5", but like I feel like she's like on the lower end. I think like she's 5'2".
Oops.
It's probably in centimeters too. Which
she
is probably...
5'2". She's the same height as me.
Okay. You're 5'2"?
Yep.
Oh.
I'm a teeny tiny one.
I don't feel like you're 5'2". I joke that I'm a 5'6", but I think I'm only like a 5'5". A tall 5'5".
5'2", 5'3" on a good day. Okay, so Neve Campbell is 5'5".
Really?
She's 5'5", yep.
Okay.
And Courtney Cox is also 5'5". Anybody else we want to know the height of?
The stunt person playing the Scream guy. Because it's clearly not Emma Roberts. So then that guy's got to be at least 5'5", or like even like 5'8". He's not much higher then.
Yeah, I can't.
To be fair, they also like put those poor girls.
Actually,
Campbell.
Here's Ghostface. Okay, let's see how tall Ghostface is. 6'1". Yeah, you're right.
You know, just like again, and I feel like Courtney and Neve, they always make them wear high heels too, so that's got to add at least another 2 inches to them.
Yeah.
And these poor high school kids are only 5'2". Just fucking kick them right in the face, and then Ghostface is done. You know?
Yeah.
He's fucking cooked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall I still enjoyed Scream 4.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I think my only biggest criticism was like I just felt like the motivations from 3 and 4, the killers were just very similar in my mind.
Right.
Although her having more of the angle of, you know, being famous and stuff and wanting that attention maybe made it slightly different. But like the second she started doing her speech, and I was kind of like,
right.
Okay.
Well, and keeping up with the whole like honoring and like scary movies and stuff like that. To me, I felt like with the having the long lost brother in the third one was kind of like an homage to Halloween 2. So I felt like that was kind of cool. And then this one felt more of like, okay, how do we make it relevant in today's terms? Because as you said last podcast, I believe this was like such a like year gap in between the since the third movie and the fourth movie were made. There was like such a big gap between them, right?
Because it was about 10 years.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. Fucking wild. I want to nick, I know it's not fair, but I want to nick Emma Roberts a little bit for her acting, like a smidge. I just found during her speech, I don't know what it was. Like the speech was fine, but like I don't think the emotion was there for me for some reason. Something just wasn't quite clicking. I don't know what it was, to be fair. And again, that's why I feel like it's more of just a critique, not saying that she's a bad actress. Something was wrong. But again, like I said, this is kind of the start of her doing more edgier
I was just gonna
things.
Because after this, she started getting Scream Queens and like American Horror Story and a lot more serious things. So I'd be
really curious to kind of see how that has changed for her and how she's gotten better or maybe worse. I don't know, because I haven't seen any of it. So it would just be something curious I'd want to see.
Yeah.
Again, though, I love, like you said, the scene where she's hitting the fucking glass. Like, that was great. I thought that was fantastic. And then her, like, putting the hand placement just right.
Yep.
But yeah, something about the speech didn't quite click for me. But, you know, again, very minor nitpicks in my mind.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was Scream 4. What a good time.
Yay.
And yes, as I have, like, bothered Kendra and probably complained her ear off, when I watched the first Scream movie way back in April, I was like, wow, I really enjoy this. I want to watch more. And I was trying to figure out where to watch them all. And for whatever fucking reason, one, 2, 3, and 4 were on Paramount Plus, and then the 6th one was on Netflix. Where was 5, you may ask? I don't fucking know, because I looked tirelessly to find it, and it was on no streaming platforms. I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. And so, after Kendra bugged me to watch more, at least all the Wes Craven ones, and I was like, okay, I will. I think I discovered after I started watching 3 that 5 was on Paramount Plus, and I was like, wow, thank God. But then, of course, I saw the 6th one that's on Netflix currently. I think by the time this podcast episode comes out, it'll still be on Netflix for a couple more days, but it's leaving Netflix. So I made the executive choice to be like, okay, I'm going to watch Scream 5 because I don't know when I'll ever see it again, and I'm going to crack out 6 later this week, I think, just because... Nice. Yeah, I don't want to have to go through this fucking journey of trying to find them all again.
You're almost at the end, so you might as well just go like, guns a-blazing.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll share a couple thoughts because I really want you to watch it so that we can, have a discussion about it.
I will say I have seen it before. I saw it in theaters when it first came out. It's just been so long since I've seen it, so.
Okay. But yeah, Scream 5, we open up with a brand new cast of characters. Yep. We got Jack Quaid, and Sam Carpenter, that's her character name. I know I go back and forth between people's names and character names. I'm very sorry. It's just apparently how my brain remembers.
I think Jenna Ortega's in this 5th one.
Yes, again. And again, I watched The Babysitter Killer, and she was in that. I was like, am I going on a Jenna Ortega kick?
In Beetlejuice, and she's Wednesday Addams, and yeah.
Right? I have to watch some more. But yeah, so it starts off with an attack scene with her, where she barely survives, and I gotta say, oh my god, we went up the gruesome level by like 10 points. Yep. That knife through the hand made me go, but somehow she barely survives. And so then we open to Sam's character. She's madly taking pills, popping them pills. And she gets a call because we find out that that's her actual sister. But she had run away from the town. We don't know why, but I guess what? We'll probably fucking find out. So she comes back, and then she meets Jenna's group of friends. And then it's like, the killings are happening again. Oh no!
Oh no!
So once again, we meet all her friends. And then, again, there's obviously... kind of like you said, there's people who mirror other people. Literally, in fact, we have legacy characters coming back, which I thought was so good. And again, maybe, I'm sorry for spoilers for Scream 5, but we find out that Sam Carpenter's character is actually the daughter of Billy. Which I thought was so good. I was like, fuck yes. We had some lovely scenes with him just taunting her, again, taunting her legacy. And then I think there's twins in the friend group who are actually the niece and nephew of Randy's character, so we get to see his sister again.
Yep.
So great. It's funny, like, what makes me so excited when I get to see these characters. I'm like, oh my god, hi! Like, she was in Scream 3 for, like, what, 2 seconds? Yeah, same thing with Scream 5, and it's just, like, I'm so happy to see her. Anyway, so now this group of characters are trying to solve these attacks now. Why are they happening? And so Sam is convinced it's because somebody knows her little dark secret. Yeah. Her little dark secret. And then, like I said, I was really excited to see Judy's character, the cop, but unfortunately, she gets off very quickly. And I was like, And I know that sounds kind of fucked up, but I'm kind of glad she died and then her son died. Because then I was like, because the minute she, died, I was like, I don't want him to suffer, watching him cry for his mom. But then he got killed, so I was like, okay, cool. Awesome. We're all just gonna die now. Great. Awesome. I will say, though, this movie... little bitches. They knew what they were doing. There were so many scenes where they just had either, a black jacket, or, a black jacket and, a white hat, or, something that, kind of looked like a ghost face. Object in the scene, but he wouldn't be in the scene, so you would open it, so there'd be this second of but then it wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was like, you dirty bitches. And they did it a lot, but I was damn, I was like, that's so smart though, because it's like an elevated version of just being oh, is he gonna be there when he opens the fridge door and closes it?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, but there's some sort of black object. So it like tricks your brain. And I'm like, that's so smart.
I can't remember if it was on Instagram, like an Instagram reel behind the scenes video that I watched, or if it was I think it might have been AMC. They were doing like a horror's greatest kind of special, breaking down certain like scares and tropes and things. And that was one of the movies that they mentioned was in the newer Scream, how he wanted to kind of like revamp a whole new set of scares and have this like this one kind of running scare where it was like you build up this tension of, oh, there's something behind that door, there's something behind whatever, and it's not until the very last time, and then and it kind of like gets you a little bit, and then it happens, right? So it's just like it kind of gives you that like anxiety, and then you're, you know, a false sense of security.
But yeah, just like when you watch it again, like I noticed that so much. They would just have like a black jacket.
Yeah.
And you would just be like, fuck, is that? And again, your brain just thinks it's him because you just see the black and white really quickly, but then it's not. And I'm like, all right, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. It's upsetting, but I see what you're doing. Again, spoilers. Sorry, we should have just put a Tyler. Spoilers. Sorry. maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put a spoiler warning at the beginning. But
just
anyways,
on the thumbnail.
Yeah, spoilers. We do unfortunately lose Dewey in this film. Very sad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it was this really nice kind of like, because at the start of this new Scream movie, it seems like he's kind of given up. So even when Sam was looking for help, he's like, fuck, man, I don't want to fucking deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
You know? But then I think, it was like he makes a call to Nev Campbell, who drops the, you know, she's like, oh, I'm with the girls, and Mark's at work, which I'm not going to lie, I had to quickly Google again. I was like, that was McDreamy's character, right? And I was like, it was. Okay, cool. So apparently they're together. Okay. So I was like, But he was basically calling to warn her, like, just, like, the killings are happening again. Just whatever you do, don't come back. And she was like, I do not plan on it. But she goes, I'm really thankful that you're there to protect these kids. And he's like, damn it. You know, because he's such a good guy. Dewey's was a good guy. I was like, God damn.
R.I.P. Dewey.
I know. But I mean, it made, I don't know, I think it really cemented this one for me, because again, you're actually killing, like, some pretty big characters, you know? But basically, I figured, I was like, well, probably the catalyst of him dying will cause her to come back, and it does. And of course, Sam's character is like, okay, we need to get the fuck out of Dodge. Like, we're gonna do something entirely different. We're gonna fucking leave.
Yep.
And so, her boyfriend, and Jenna, they're in the car, and they're like, okay, we need to get the fuck out of town. And then Nev Campbell's like, listen, you can't run from this. Like, I've learned. Like, don't do what I do. But she's like, no, all due respect, I'm fucking leaving. And she goes, okay, have a good time. And then, of course, Gail's like, well, that really went well. She goes, don't worry, I put a tracker on the car. She's like, oh. She goes, that's what Gail Weathers would do, right? And then she's like, I'll take that as a compliment. But of course, what a coinky dink. Jenna Ortega needs her inhaler, and she can't find it, but the extra one is at her friend's house, which I will say, I was sus from her from day one. I was like, that's gotta be you. Wait, have you seen? No, you said you saw it, right?
Yes, but like a long time ago.
Okay.
So some of the stuff is kind of like very vague,
very
in
foggy.
my mind. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just keep it short and sweet. But yeah, once again, they pull the fun little, like, oopsie, here's who the killers are. And I was like, whoa. Although I gotta say, these killers were probably the most unsuccessful killers ever. They only killed a couple people. Because there was one guy at the end, I was like, he's clearly dead. But apparently he's alive. Because I saw him in the new trailer. And I was
I'm trying to remember, Jack Quaid was one of them, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And I really should have suspected him, because I'm like, it's Jack Quaid. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. There's just, like, some people you're like, you're in this movie. Like, you gotta be a big player. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's kind of like in that new Terminator movie. They're trying to pretend, like, who's Matt Smith's character? I'm like, he's clearly the villain. Like, you're not gonna hire Matt Smith for a bit part. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Anyway, but yeah, he is one of the killers. And again, but it still got me. I was like, God, he's so good. And he was making fun of Dewey. He's like, he fucking called it. And I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
He's right. But see, Jack Quaid did a better job of convincing me. I was like, there was a couple times where I'm like, And again, I was like, is that too obvious? I don't know. They just keep throwing those curveballs at you.
Yep.
Love it. But yeah, they also have the final showdown at the original house, which I thought was a lot of fun.
That was cool.
That was such a great reveal. I was like, what the fuck?
I remember seeing Jack Quaid's stuff on Instagram when they were first filming it, and it was like him in the house, and he was just like running around being like, oh, look at it, it's so cool.
Well, you had sent me that thing where they were talking about how it was like an old creepy home.
Yeah, it's like haunted or whatever. Yeah.
I was like, that's wild.
Right.
Like I said, I want you to like watch it and get refreshed again. But I really enjoyed 5 as well. I was like, damn. Like I said, like they're all so good.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have such a great time watching these. They're just so much fun. The whodunit. Again, your girl loves a good mystery, so like I'm always fucking down for.
And I don't recall if I've actually seen 6. So I'm excited to watch 6 as well, and then when the new one comes out, that'll be exciting.
Yes, because I did look that up because I knew it was going through a lot of production hell, but I guess the director and Neve Campbell confirmed it's coming out next year in February.
Ooh.
So maybe we'll have to do Spooky Month early.
Ooh.
Who knows?
Just one extra bonus spooky month.
Right? Okay, I'm so sorry. We've talked a lot about Scream. I'm very sorry. We just had so much fun. But I'll quickly rapid fire the other 2 movies I watched. The Haunted Wedding on the W Network / Hallmark. It is what you expect from a Hallmark film. It is a cheesy ghost hunter movie about them getting married at a haunted hotel that happens to have a spirit who just hasn't been able to cross over. This is so sad. I mean, honestly, like, it wasn't bad, wasn't great, but like, I don't know, it was a cute watch after watching like the intense Scream movies. I will say my favorite scene is the opening scene where they're going through a haunted insane asylum, and he's like, "This is the time to propose." And so they're going through this haunted house with all their gear. They cut to this room, and you can see there's this giant heart-shaped heart made out of petals, and he is sitting on his knees, ready with that ring, and she is just like, "There's no haunted readings," and then she turns around and goes, "Oh my god! Oh my god!" And yeah, he's just like, I can think of no, like, a more romantic place than this insane asylum. And she's just like, "It's so perfect."
Oh my god.
I was like, wow. But yeah, I would say it's a hilarious watch. Like, it's a nice watch. It is a hoot. And then yeah, I watched the sequel to The Babysitter, The Killer Queens.
Hell yeah.
Again, what a great time.
Right?
This weird slasher fucking goofy ass genre. So good.
So good.
I was a little sad, but at the same time it was such a good power move to make his best friend now be in league with the devil.
Yeah.
But I was like, damn it! I really thought. But again, I should have figured because like Jenna Ortega is also in it, so I was like, who is he going to fall for? And I was like, oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
She is evil now. Okay. The poor blondes in his life, they are all evil. What a shame. But of course, we brought back all our favorites again from the first film. We got Robbie. We got Bella Thorne. We didn't even mention the girl from the acapellas.
Oh, yes.
We just weren't used to her because she usually talks very quietly.
That's right. Yeah.
But she talks way more in these films.
Yeah. What was her name?
Right. I'm blanking now. I know in The Babysitter, her name's Sonia, but
right. I'm trying to. Was it Maylin or Lily or there was? I can't remember what her name was.
Lily or something.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But yeah, they're all back again, and they're all after Cole with a couple new characters. Most of them die off pretty quickly. The only one who stays is his best friend, who's now in league with the devil. So him and Jenna Ortega have to run around and try to survive the night, with so much bloodshed. So much bloodshed. It also killed me because there was that scene where Bella dies because her head gets ripped off, which is just gnarly as hell. And yet they got no blood on them. I was like, okay. But then when Robbie died underwater, got hit with a propeller underwater, they got splashed with blood.
Yep. Mythbusters.
I have some questions. But again, it just kind of added to this fucking random over-the-top fucking shit.
Yeah. It's one of those franchises where like sometimes there's movies where you're sitting there and you're watching them and you're going, what in the hell am I watching? And then there's no payoff. But at least with this
Mhm.
one, you're like, I'm on board. This is actually fun.
It's just so wacky. And again, Robbie's character is just so unhinged. I love it.
Oh.
Again, it's just like the pee scene. Oh my fucking god. He's like, don't look at me, I'm a tinkle, and then pees right in her fucking eye. And then they have sex.
Yep.
I know she said pees sterile, but I just like, I don't think I could. I'm sorry. Nah, bruh, nah. But it was cool seeing her little hideaway, her little Alice hole. Because again, there was all like these subtle, like demonic devil things in there, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, they do it. They do it to a nice little disco song, little montage, which was great. And then, because again, there's this whole thing with Jennifer Ortega's character where you're like, what is the deal? Because like she's been kind of summoned here, and they're like, what's going on? And then she gets captured. He gets drugged by his dad, who drives him back. Who he also gets hot. Like this movie's wild. Like I can't cover how wild this movie is.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically he comes back to fight for Jenna, and his best friend's like, who's now possessed. She's like, well, he'll come back because, you know, that's what happens in Terminator 2. Cole's such a nerd. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, all right, whatever. But he comes back, and then, of course, all the other characters come back, and then they drink the blood. And then Cece comes out of the water, and that's when, Jenna Ortega's character in this movie, her name is Phoebe. Yeah, because then she, of course, recognizes Cece. She's like, that's my babysitter. And he's like, what? That was my babysitter. And so they're all, and of course, all those little greedy guys made the deals with the devil. They were so excited to drink that blood. But I was like, I was a little sus. And then, of course, you see Cece kind of like looking around, and she kind of like gets a little, and I was like, oh, she knows something. And of course, what is that? That Cole is no longer an innocent boy. That his doctor person was right. He just had to get laid.
Yeah.
Not sound advice, kids, but like in this case, it worked with the devil cult thing. But in most things in life, that probably won't solve your problems.
No.
But in this case, it did. And so all the characters are now dying because now the blood is poisoned. And just watching them, and again, fucking Robbie character just kills me. He's just like, as he's dying, he's like, I respect it. Like, what a wild betrayal. I love it. Well, everyone else is just like crying. He's just like, I fucking love it. I was like, good lord. And so they all die. I think, I don't know. I think that's what happened. I think they died. They did the ritual wrong, so they died. And then it turns out that Cece was actually Phoebe's guardian angel the whole time.
Yeah.
It turns out she gave up her soul to let her live. So she was actually a good person, maybe?
She was an angel.
Maybe? Angel of death.
Angel of death.
And then, of course, the dad comes back. And again, I just... she's just like, hey. And he's like, oh, hey, Cece. I was like, did you not remember, like, 2 years ago your son destroying the house? You didn't think, where did Cece go?
Yeah.
Again, all these teenagers died. Where did they all go? No one was asking questions. Whatever. But then Cece has to drink the poison blood because she's like, well, I made a deal with the devil, you know? And so there's a very emotional scene of her leaving. And then, of course, the dad's like, what the fuck did I just witness? Sorry, I forgot to mention, obviously no one believes Cole. That would happen that summer.
Yeah.
So he's spending a lot of his time trying to prove it to his parents because they think he's a little loopy. But yeah, and maybe that's why I was extra hurt, because I was like, the best friend seemed to be like kind of believed him in a way. So I was like, oh, nice. But it turns out just in league with the devil.
Yup.
So now apparently he believes him, and then, you know, the sun rises and everybody's happy. And I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? Oh, man. But yeah, 10 out of 10. What
it's a wild time. But I do have to mention Ghost Ship.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So this movie came out in 2000, I believe. 2001, maybe?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it's literally Man of Medan. So like already when I first started watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. I'm in. It's basically, it just reminded me so much of Man of Medan.
Mm-hmm.
And so you said you've seen the ending.
I believe I saw the ending of that.
Okay.
I was on TV. I was on AMC, so I think that's what I'm assuming that's what I watched.
Okay. Wow. Holy. So I mean, okay. First of all, we have Quinn from Dexter in this movie. We have Carl Urban.
Yes.
And we have Emily Browning. She plays the little ghost girl in this movie. And so yeah, so like I said, this is, if you're familiar with Madame Medan, the Dark Pictures anthology game series, it's basically a very similar story to that. We've got these they're not really treasure hunters, or just like these guys who dig up old wreckages of boats, like, and take them ashore, and I'm assuming they do it for historical reasons, or they like trade them in for money or something like that. They come across this like old liner that once was carrying like a bunch of people on it. It was really famous, and then it went missing, and nobody knew like where it went, and all the people just like mysteriously disappeared off of it. And so they find it, and they're like, oh, we can take it back in and get so much money for it. And they end up like, exploring on the ship and like trying to figure out what happened to everybody. And then they come across a bunch of gold, and then spooky things start happening. And you find out that there's a bunch of like spirits trapped on the boat, and bad things keep happening to anybody who discovers the boat that's living. Just bad things keep happening to them. And as the movie goes, so it's interesting. You're kind of like, okay, this is cool. Like, I wonder, what's gonna happen. And then you find out from Emily Browning's character that all of a sudden it's like, oh, once he has all the souls he needs, like, he promised that he'll set the rest of us free. And you're going, who, what, huh? You find out at the end of the movie that Quinn from Dexter is like some weird, like, devil demon something or other, like in this weird twist. And the funniest thing at the end, if it's what you're if you remember from watching it, is they rescue the last sole survivor of the ship. They rescue her, and then she's like in the ambulance getting patched up, and she sees like the crew carrying like these crates of gold and everything, and then he just walks into frame, and it's just like the corniest like heavy metal song, and he's just got like the like evil look. Oh my god, I laughed so hard. It was so funny.
Yep, I saw that bit. I was like,
okay.
All right, cool.
It was so funny.
It's funny that, because Man of Medan is based, again, so it's interesting that this movie, and the Man of Medan game, it is based on this weird lost ship that went missing, and like, I think they found it, but there was nobody aboard, but then it sunk or whatever. So
yeah,
it is funny that two different, mediums of, took their interpretation on this real life event. It's very, very funny. But I didn't know that behind it, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to watch it. But I remember that ending scene, and I was like, what the heck's going on? Okay.
Honestly, I think you'd probably get a kick out of it, but I just burst out laughing at the end. I'm like, what is happening here? What the hell?
What is happening? But I think we'll probably do it for our extra long episode. Like I said, sorry, it was very Scream heavy. We just had a lot of fun. We just wanted to talk about Scream. It was a lot of fun. But we'll definitely, I know for sure I will definitely watch the conclusion of, at least up to current conclusion of the Scream franchise this week. Yeah. Because, that was a lot of fun. And maybe we'll try to hammer out a couple other on our original list and see how it goes. Thank you so much for watching and sticking through us for another extra long episode. If you've actually watched any of the movies we've been talking about this month, this episode at all, leave it down below. Or is there any we should be adding to our list? Because, it'll be forever growing. Would love to know. Also consider leaving this video a little likesy, and consider subscribing to Pretty Cool Gals, in my opinion. We still got plenty left for Spooky Month, even though Hallmark, even when I was watching the Hallmark movie, they were pushing Christmas real hard.
Oh,
they were pushing Christmas real hard.
When you sent me those audition lines of the guys, I'm just so excited. Excited.
I keep getting ads for Finding Mr. Christmas, and then of course they're just getting ads because, as we already know, Hallmark is already pushing Christmas. I think as recording this episode, this Friday is going to be starting Christmas, but we promise we will keep Spooky Month for a little bit longer. Yeah. We will not give in to peer pressure yet.
Hallmark is very good at it, but we won't.
Right. We won't give in just yet. We will still stick with spooky. We still got time for some spooky times. Yeah. But subscribe to continue our journey. And keep watching all the content, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Monkey.
Slap. Woo.